That's a test. I need to see if that worked. Okay. Oh man. So far, this I'd say maybe about a quarter of the way through. Man, it's been a really good productive week with not only just my exercise but also just with my writing and working on the book. And I've mentioned it before that there's other books that I'm working on also. So I kind of hop back and forth between some of them. Like for example, last weekend, one of them that I'm working on, which I don't want to talk about too much yet because I want to get this first one finished and ready for an editor before I start talking about more of the other ones. But man, I got emotional at one point because I was writing a part of a story where somebody was going through something pretty traumatizing, and I summoned memories from my own personal experience and just things that I've experienced, and like I'm sure it's happened before to other people out there that when you literally pour your heart and soul and your all your emotions and your creative energy that you can't help but become emotional, depending on what exactly it is. And so, like, I was working on a chapter and I started to tear up. I was starting to cry, and I just let it happen. I just said, you know what, I gotta let it. I gotta let this go. I gotta let this moment just be done. Because it's happened a few times before where I've worked on other things, and I know that it happens in my work when it's something that is personally relatable, and I guess that's the whole point of just being able to recall things that have happened to you in life. I mean, actors do this also. If you've ever done like drama in a play, you'll summon traumatizing moments or powerful memories in your life that really help portray the emotion that you really want to get through. And so it happened to me last week on one of the books that I was working on. And there's a few moments too in this zombie story, Fading Death, where I really felt like just an emotional, like, dang, like, oh, this is happening here. Hi, buddy. And so yeah, I find that whenever I reach that point in my work, that not only am I getting amazing solid work done, but I'm also just so drained afterwards that it's that high, that climax that you hit of productivity, emotion, creativity, all of it is just going together, and then the crash comes afterwards. And that crash is like, okay, let's just write a little bit more, finish off this chapter or whatever this moment, and then that's it. Because I know that if I try to do more after that, I feel like I'm forcing myself. And I've talked about this before in another video where I recognize when I'm feeling just creative burnout. And if I try to, hey, Arlo, leave it alone. The camera may have just wobbled a little bit. Arlo's down here chewing up a sock that I donated to him. Anyways, yeah, I've talked about it before where I recognize when I'm feeling that creative burnout. And so when I step away from a work like that, I need to just take a few days to just reset, refresh, recharge, and then I'll come back into it and I'll continue working on from there. And so that's really a pattern of my work that I found that has helped me a lot to make serious progress on the books that I'm working on. But also like just really flesh out things like dialogue, character interactions, tone and atmosphere. Because really dialogue is what it comes down to, is the heart and soul of stories, is finding out how are these characters that we're coming to care about handling whatever it is that they're dealing with. So that's something that I wanted to share. And yesterday here in the United States, it was Thanksgiving, so everybody has a day off. Not everybody, but a lot of people do, and they usually get together with family, make a big beautiful dinner, whatever, turkey, etc., etc. And just I was reflecting on a little bit about what I'm thankful for. A year ago, I was still getting settled into this apartment. I didn't have the furniture that you see behind me. A year ago, I was still trying to figure out, what direction I really wanted to go next in life, and I was, just trying all kinds of different things, listening to everything from manifestation to just entrepreneurship stuff, and I really was at a point in my life where I wanted to figure out, okay, how do I live the life that I want to live, and how do I live a life that's true to me? And so it comes down to, well, how do you define what your true self is? And for everybody, it's a different journey, honestly. Um, for some people, it's finding it through faith in God and Jesus. For other people, it's themselves, and other people, it's any other religion. And I'm not here to tell you what's right or wrong, but I'm just sharing you what I'm doing and what's working for me. And so um, I've talked about it before also, where I knew that the books that I had in mind that I wanted to write years ago, that were always just not even a halfway effort. It was just like a spur of the moment. I feel inspired, and then it's like, all right, I'm done. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where it's going. And yeah, I'd say it was about like yeah, like a year ago when I started doing my YouTube channel more consistently, is when I really asked myself, if I never write these books that I have in mind, if I never do it, will I truly regret that on my deathbed? And the answer was yes. I imagined myself old, and I envisioned what it would look like when I'm there in that moment when my life is coming to its end. And I thought, like, if I never wrote these books that I have in mind, would that be a regret? And it was. So, um, here I am now working with my book on this table that I've set up in my apartment, because just having this simple fold out table just right here in front of the couch, like, it's a good way for me to just, like, all right, I'm just going to focus on the book right now. And I think that when the time comes that I do move to a new place, like, I know for sure I'm going to need to just have my own writing room, which is like my own personal study, my own, creative space area, whatever. And I've talked a little bit about it before, of turning your home, your place, into your creative environment, your studio. And I have a book about it too, of other creative artists who have done the same thing, of just making their home into a place where their creativity can thrive. If not their home, then like their personal office kind of thing. Anyways, um, but for now we're making do with what we have, and that's really what we can do. And so I'm really excited just to continue going forward, getting this book finished, and getting it ready to have an editor look at it to then go to publish. So I'll be sharing a lot more of that journey, how it's coming along. Um, Still working through some of the chapters here, and man, I got to tell you, like, the rough draft was rough. The first draft was rough because that was the rough draft, but that's the beauty of being able to stop and go back through it. Because if I had given what I wrote initially to an editor, I would be right back where I'm at now. It's just like the same kind of notes that I had, of like, you need more dialogue. You are inconsistent here and there. You mentioned this and then you never mentioned it again, kind of thing. So catching a lot of those things and going forward with the continuity and how the rest of the story unfolds is it's a big help. So I'm excited to keep going forward with it. Right now, the portion in the story that I'm working on, the characters are getting ready to leave the city of Boston, and there's a rainfall that has happened. So there's a few more twists and turns that happen before they are able to get out of the city. And another character was introduced who is kind of separate from the whole group, and so it's awesome, just like the way that they all converge. So I'm excited to continue working on it. This morning we went on a 4 mile walk up to the park, and I wish I had started doing that earlier, because that's such a great walk, and there's not a whole lot of like stoplights or cross streets in the way, so it's very much like the majority of that walk is just straight walking, and so that felt great. We went to the park that we always go to, And it felt weird just walking there with Arlo on a leash because I always just take him off leash with the collar on. So I think next time we do that, I'll take the collar with him and then let him run around off leash a little bit if he wants to. But he was getting tired, so am I. I feel great, and I've got some rice cooking right now, and I've got some leftover food that I'm gonna make here for lunch. So that's really it. That's all I have to really share about today. Good luck with whatever projects you have that you're working on, whatever you're thankful for. Keep that in the forefront, and the projects that you find yourself caring about, investing yourself into, pour your heart and soul into it. It's fine. But also recognize when you're feeling the burnout, because then you're just going to do more harm than good for your work. And you just got to learn how to pace that and pace yourself. So thank you so much. I appreciate you watching. It means a lot. Let's see if this works. I hope so.